Good evening, Cherries fans, and welcome back to Up the Cherries in all departments. So, of course, we got that fantastic win last time round against Tottenham Hotspur when we beat them 3-2. Of course, we got Harry's reaction, and also we had our free-for-all as well. So do check those out after this preview show. Of course, we now have 3 games in a row which are all against teams in the relegation battle. Now, before we do introduce our special guest, here's a little bit about our sponsors, Dental on the Banks. To find out what they can do for you, visit dentalonthebanks.co.uk. So, West Ham are going to be visiting Dean Court this weekend on Sunday on Sky TV at 2 o'clock. And West Ham are in a bit of a surprising situation. They're in the Europa Conference League, but they're also down the bottom of the league, whereas everybody expected them from off the back of last season to be doing a lot better under David Moyes. To discuss this game, we do speak to a prominent YouTuber, and it is a pleasure to welcome from beneath the headphones, Sam Chaplin. Good evening, Sam. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing very well. How about yourself?
Yeah, very, very well. And this game is between two teams who look to be relatively safe in this relegation battle, but you can't count your chickens yet, can you, really?
No,
You can still get dragged into it.
definitely. I mean, looking at the remaining fixtures, I mean, both of us have quite a few difficult games. I mean, I see that you guys have Man United, as do we. But the thing is, I believe every single game, including West Ham's game this evening against Ghent, is like a cup final, you know.
Yeah.
Like both of our last games, I mean, Bournemouth versus Everton, that's going to be a hell of a game to finish off the season with, you know, as with West Ham and Leicester. Tough fixtures ahead, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And to be honest, you pointed out the fixture that I've been going on about all season long when it looked like it was coming to a bit of a crunch period. Everton away, Goodison Park is going to be quite toxic considering I don't really want to go there with something to play for, really.
No, and I think, and once again, I mean, having this game as well, because both of us really with our current points, I mean, you guys are 14th and West Ham are 15th, with like 33 points and 31, but we have a game in hand.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's games won and lost and drawn. It's all very, very tight, and I think that once again, it's just keeping the composure. I think. And I think the only thing with West Ham that I'm concerned about is that because we have a European competition, which hopefully carries on. Like, don't get me wrong, I would rather. Well, I'd rather us do both well in both, obviously. But I mean, I don't know. I hope we do well. I really do.
there was somebody that I spoke to the other day, a West Ham fan, and he said that the European competition, he would take that if, even if West Ham were relegated. I can't imagine, though, West Ham fans would really be that happy with playing in the Europa League
Yeah,
one day against somebody like Roma or someone nice like that,
yeah.
fantastic fixture, and then having to go to Rotherham.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I think it's West Ham fans are an interesting breed. I mean, I must say. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to like start upsetting anyone. I hope, but like, I think is we've it's quite rare. I think for West Ham to be in the position that they're in. We've had a couple of seasons that were really, really good.
Yes.
Like top 8, top 6, that sort of thing, aiming for European football. But to be in quite a mild, well, let's say mild, quite a tight relegation battle. Yeah, we're doing okay, but we can slip. There's a few points. I mean, I would say 37 points maybe might be the target in terms of the points. And looking at the games we have once again coming up, I think that we can maybe do it. But I really, if I could see West Ham winning a trophy in my lifetime, I say a proper one. I'm not saying like the Betway Cup isn't a proper trophy. It isn't. There's nothing really to call your dad about. Do you know what I mean?
Well, to be honest, we won it once, and I tell you what, we was delighted with it. Unfortunately, they don't give European places for winning the Betway Cup, but
No. But I mean, once again, I mean, even because obviously it's a Sunday game, and I really hope that our fatigue will be okay for the Bournemouth game, obviously. But I do think, going back to your question, I think I would much rather see us safe and back in, continuing, the Premier League run. But also, I'm going to go for both of them. I've always been, for better or for worse, a positive West Ham fan, and they're quite rare, I would say, especially given our managerial situation.
yes.
Which I'm sure we'll get onto in a second. But I don't know. I want everything to go right, basically.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I can completely understand. And of course, the Conference League, you've got to be one of the favourites
I
to
hope
win that
so.
competition.
I think this, like, the squad that we have. I mean, obviously Skamaka's out now. I don't
Yeah.
think he's going to play for West Ham again. Part of me is thinking that that was West Ham have a habit of getting really good players, but then them not gelling and bonding and like fitting in. I mean, I am definitely not comparing Skamaka to Dimitri Payet here. Obviously not. But the thing is, like, with him, he was a cult hero. I think when we signed
Yes.
Skamaka, we wanted him to be a cult hero. We wanted him to, because he's a big name. He's a young guy. He's got a big career ahead of him. But the thing is, it's just it's him being comfortable in the UK. Being comfortable
Yes.
where he is. And I think having a team like West Ham, which could, I don't want them to be a yo-yo club. I think West Ham are definitely suited to be a Premier League, side. I would say like Bournemouth as well. I've got a lot of respect for Bournemouth, but I don't know. I think that I think with the squad that we have, I think we're strong enough. It's just. I mean, Bowen's one of my favourite players. He's got a brilliant career once again ahead of him. I think that he has, especially like the gravitas, whatever that means. But he's definitely got, he's got it in him. Basically.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, Declan Rice is still in the squad as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic
Definitely.
player. Do you think West Ham can keep hold of Declan Rice, providing say for example you win this Conference League,
Yeah.
you go into the Europa League? Do you think that's the only way you could keep hold of Declan Rice, or do you think that somebody like Man City or Liverpool are going to come in for him
Yeah.
and offer him Champions League football?
Honestly, seeing Declan Rice in another team shirt is going to hurt, obviously.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it already does hurt at the moment. I mean, even I use Twitter quite often, and Declan Rice is always in my like sort of trending page because of the algorithm,
Yeah.
whatever. And there's so many pictures of him on like Liverpool shirts, in Arsenal shirts, in Man City shirts, and whatever. I know that Chelsea was his boyhood club. I do believe that he will go to a London club, but I hope that London club is still West Ham. I believe
Yeah.
that he, once again, speaking of cult hero, he's more than a cult hero. He's,
Yes.
he came through the ranks, and obviously Mark Noble, it was a fantastic, I don't know, leader for the team. And I mean, given his age as well, I don't think he'll just yet have that sort of status, perhaps as Noble did. But the thing is, this could be, despite the current situation that West Ham are in, this could be one of the golden eras, of West Ham. Because like the stadium's still relatively new for us. We've only been there like 4 years now, maybe 3. I'm not sure, but I think my heart is telling me that he will go, but who knows? Realistically, who knows? Because we might not even win tonight. We might not win against Ghent tonight, and obviously I want us to. I'll be watching it behind my sofa, but I think he's a good guy, and I'll always sort of support him, even if he, heaven forbid, joins like once again like another team that's like our rivals, like a Spurs or or a Chelsea, but. He has to do what's right for him at the end of the day as well. That's just me being a positive, and sort of like, I don't know, well, yeah, positive person, I suppose. He's got to do what's right for him, and he's going to have a fantastic career wherever he goes. It's just the consistency that he has, and he's a brilliant leader despite his age. He'll do well. I hope he continues to do well in the West Ham shirt, but only time will tell.
Yeah, and hopefully, fingers crossed, you can keep hold of him.
Yeah.
Do you think, with regards to this Conference League as well, and probably the last bit I'll say on this, do you feel that the Thursday and then at the weekend games and the fixture congestion has really affected? Because going to places like Cyprus and Lithuania and places like that, out of the blue, sides that maybe are, quite a lot weaker than a lot of Championship sides, but it's still that travelling and then coming back to play a side like Manchester City, for example.
Yeah. That's the thing. I once again, even going to Ghent, so not going to Ghent, but like playing against Ghent and having on obviously today and then having Bournemouth on Sunday. It's even there. It's. I think the squad rotation is the most important thing. And part of me is thinking that whatever side that we play, we have to have it strong because
yes,
we're lucky in the situation where we have 2 relatively good goalkeepers. I know that one of them will probably leave at the end of the season. That'll be Areola, but I think. Well, I think anything can happen, and I don't follow Belgian football very often. I'm sorry to say.
No, I've got to be honest. I've never really watched it myself. To be fair.
Yeah, and so 1-1 against Ghent away. It basically just means like an even playing field. Apart from the fact that the vast majority of the stadium, whether it's full or not, are going to be behind West Ham. Or hopefully anyway. As I said before, we know West Ham fans can be a bit not aggressive as such, but they're very, very passionate, I would say.
Yes.
And to be so close, to a semi-final and then to a final, if we make it, incredible. I'm not quite sure if we make it, touch wood we do. What game we will play after the final. But either way, I do believe that Moyes can make the right decision. And in terms of players who are at the moment, I think obviously Scamacca, Ogbonna could come back, but I think he's like 50% chance, and Aguerd, he's such a strong person, in the back of a fantastic World Cup, and again, speaking of cult heroes, he's going to be one of those players, much like Craig Dawson was last season, or this season even, he could be one of the saving graces for us, as long as, as well as, our strikers, but complacency is one of our biggest issues. The fact that we conceded 2 goals so early on against Arsenal. I don't know. That was a hell of a game to watch. I didn't think it would be after those 2 goals, but then I was like, oh god, 2-0. In 10 minutes or whatever it was. Like it felt like that anyway. As I say, I'm a positive fan, so I didn't expect us to, get. It felt like a win. It felt like a 4-0 win, even though we only got 1 point. But
of course, David Moyes has come under a lot of pressure this season, and I guess that's because of the drop off and how well he did to get West Ham into a position. He's his second spell. Do you feel that some of the criticism has been a bit harsh considering how well he's done and he's had this season? Because he did the same at Everton, believe it or not. I had a little look, and he did actually drop near the relegation zone when he was manager of Everton. I think
Yeah.
he finished a place above it. But then the following season, did really, really well and nearly got into Europe again. Do you
Yeah.
feel that it's a little bit harsh, the criticism of him?
I think I would say so. I mean, my biggest criticism of Moyes, it always has been, and I'm sure a lot of West Ham fans will agree with me, is his choices of like timings of substitutions.
Yeah.
I would say that West Ham definitely got it right. Once again, speaking about the previous game against Arsenal,
Yes.
having that pressure, knowing that yeah, we were. It was at home, wasn't it? I believe. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, having that pressure helped, and I think it was tactical on David Moyes' part. And obviously the players as well, because they were the ones on the pitch. And that's another point I'll make as well. It's very easy to criticise one person for pulling the strings, but it's the players on the pitch who are the ones running around, who are the ones passing or not passing that well.
Yeah.
I believe that he deserves a chance, and I honestly, I mean, I'm not sure when he's going to retire. I know obviously he's a bit old now. Maybe he's got another spell somewhere else, maybe. But I mean, Christ, if he can retire with a trophy with a team like West Ham, who have such a, not the biggest history in the world, but still, are still one of the teams that people know about, then he definitely deserves it. The fact that he's given them another chance with West Ham. I mean, West Ham, in my lifetime, I'm 27. We've had quite a few managers, and obviously this season has been, a complete cesspit of, like
Yeah.
sackings and that sort of thing. I would like him to see the season out, and I think he deserves to have his moment, in the sun, if you will. If he can keep us up, then he's done a good job. I do believe that he will go at the end of the season. I think there's rumours. I mean, like I say, I use Twitter quite a lot, and there's a complete rumour mill, especially this time of the season as well. I think in terms of squad rotation, it's a nice problem to have. Once again, having Europe, as I think our only cup that we're in now. Which is nothing to be sniffed at, obviously. This is another thing as well. Whether it's Conference League, whether it's Europa League, whether it's the Champions League, it's still European football,
Yes.
And that's fantastic. That's what a team like with West Ham size want. Obviously, Champions League would be lovely, but let's be realistic. But coming back to your question, I think that David Moyes obviously has come under a lot of fire. West Ham fans have been Moyes out, Moyes in, Moyes out. Mostly Moyes out, I would say. But I think he deserves to be, to have his chance, definitely.
Of course, West Ham have normally, and I say normally, recruited British managers. So you have
Yes.
the likes of Sam Allardyce, you've had Pardew. There has been no times when you brought in the likes of Pellegrini,
Yeah.
Avram Grant, Zola, but mainly it has been British managers.
Yeah.
Do you think that West Ham will go British again, or do you think that they may go continental? I think it'll only be for the fourth time, if I'm right in thinking.
Yeah, I think there was talk of, I can't remember, someone, is it Arnie Slot? I think I've heard his name a couple of times. I think that's his first name. There was also Will Still, who's a bit of a meme now, if I'm honest with you. There was that thing where, did you know that Will Still, but I think he's quite a young manager.
Yeah.
And I believe it's France or Belgium he's in. But I think it's France actually.
It is. It's
Yeah,
He's for Rennes, I
that's
believe.
it. Yeah, and I think that he definitely may be on the cards in the future. I mean, I was about to say maybe Noble could come in. I don't think he will. I think he's going to be behind the scenes for a little while. He deserves to have a bit
Yeah.
of time away from the pitch, and because he's had a wonderful career. I would say he's always going to be one of my favourite players. But yeah, I think Arnie Slot or I will still, but there's a rumor. Once again, rumors, could be good or
Yeah,
bad, or completely false, that he might go to Tottenham. But I think that might just be a. There's a lot of
yeah,
like meme accounts on the West Ham side, so
yeah.
I'm not sure if it's actually true or not. I'm not going to name any here, but I think we know who they are. Um, but yeah, I would like whoever we get. It's like it is going to be refreshing, and I hope that we start once again in the Premier League, like from scratch, because and hopefully also to be in the Europa League as well, because that'd be lovely, and that'll be a good position for a new manager to be in, because a slate wipe clean would be helpful,
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely. Of course, I had recently on here a certain Harry Redknapp,
Yes.
and an absolute legend. I think he'll always be a legend at West Ham, won't he?
Definitely, definitely, and I think when you told me that I was, going to be the next, I was like, what? No, this is like I generally thought I was not dreaming as such, but it's such a bizarre thing, and I was like, oh my god,
Yeah,
really? And I was out in the pub the other day thinking, like, Harry Red, and I watched the interview, and I was like, wow, I'm not going to be, like I haven't been to West Ham in a while, and yeah, but it's a true honour, first of all, to be on this channel, and also to sort of follow, to follow Harry Redknapp. He's speaking of legends of the game, and like icons, he's definitely up there, and yeah, he's definitely a character as well. It was a brilliant interview.
yeah. Thank you so much.
That's okay.
And of course, he did think West Ham were going to be absolutely fine. I think West Ham are going to be absolutely
I
fine.
think so. Hope so.
Would a
Yeah,
draw suit both teams, really?
I think so. I think there's definitely gonna be goals in it. I
Yeah,
think that the way that I watched the highlights versus I watched a couple of the highlights. I watched the highlights versus Spurs,
yeah.
and that must have felt amazing.
Oh, it was.
Like it's. I'm not comparing a win against Spurs to a draw against Arsenal. It's a bit, but obviously, given the position that Arsenal are in as well, yeah, it was truly a tremendous like moment, and I think obviously I don't know. I think I would like Bournemouth to survive the league. I genuinely think that they can and they will. I think I've written down the three teams that I think will go down.
Go on.
Okay, I've first of all Nottingham Forest. Once again, brilliant history. I think they'll finish 18th, and I've got Everton to go down as well.
Everton.
I know that they're one of one of the big teams. I think they are one of the teams that are haven't actually gone down since the Premier League in the Premier League era. Unless I'm wrong
I
about
think
that.
since 1952. I might be incorrect about that, but that's a long, long time to be in the
I was
top
about to say a
flight
lot
and
of
not be
Everton
relegated.
fans.
Yeah, so to be
Yeah,
honest, I spoke to an Everton fan yesterday,
yeah,
and that Everton fan, and if you check the comments on the Harry Redknapp
yeah.
video, guys, about the relegation battle, Everton fans are saying themselves that they're going down. So to be honest, I don't think you're really upset. To be
Yeah,
honest,
it would be because I think the reason why I put them as well is because they've always been a bit of a bogey team for West Ham.
yeah,
You got players no, he doesn't play for them anymore. So once again, my football knowledge probably isn't brilliant, but I remember Romelu Lukaku had this thing where he always used to score
yes,
against us, and yeah, I wouldn't like to see them go down because once again they deserve, But then once again, every dog has its day. It's we've had teams like Leicester who once again are also in the relegation scrap as well. Who
yeah,
a few seasons ago won the damn thing. So anything can happen in this in this league. I think there's still going to be more drama at the top, and
yeah,
there's going to be more drama at the bottom. And also the other team I have to go down is Southampton. But I think it's a bit obvious because of where they are in the table.
yeah,
And I haven't looked at their fixtures. But I know that you guys have to play them after you play against us. So,
yes.
so that's the thing as well. Like looking at your fixtures, Southampton, Leeds, and Everton once again, but then having to play against Chelsea and Man United, chucked in there, absolutely brutal. West Ham obviously have got Liverpool, City, Man U, and I would say that Leicester is going to be quite a difficult game as well because they're going to be really, really much
Yeah.
like Everton as well, because it could come down to the wire, But I think I've seen a few highlights of Billing, and I think like he's definitely like one of those hot shots, you know. And I know that you're a very assisty team, like you sort of
Yes.
press, and with West Ham we kind of have sort of we have attacking players, but it's the way that Moyes plays them. Going back to like when he brings on players like in the last minutes, like the last 10 minutes of the game. That's one thing that I have my criticism of him. But I believe that Bowen, once again, as I mentioned before, he's going to be. Hopefully, we can keep him. But I think he'll definitely get a goal. I think Billing and Bowen will definitely get a goal if there is going to be goals scored on either part. It's going to be an interesting way of finishing the season. Obviously, West Ham could have a few more games played in Europe. So fatigue might be an issue, and obviously injuries as well. I mean, once again, touch wood, nothing happens, but anything can happen in 90 minutes, you know. But yeah, I'm positive that Bournemouth will stay up. I really hope they do, definitely.
And likewise, mate. And likewise, of course, somebody will be coming up against his former side, and that will be our own manager, Gary O'Neill. Of course, was
yeah.
at West Ham for quite some time.
Yeah.
With regards to Gary, do you think, because there's been a lot of criticism in the Bournemouth faithful, and what they've been saying is that Gary hasn't been up to it. He's still a manager that's learning his trade,
Yeah.
but he was an excellent player for West Ham, wasn't he?
Yeah. And like sorry, am I right saying that your previous manager was Scott Parker as well?
Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
who
Yeah,
obviously played for West Ham
yeah,
as well. And speaking of cult heroes, he'll be one of those players that I know he played for a few teams, but there's a few goals that will always be in my heart. Some screamers. There's one against Chelsea, I believe. I think it's good seeing young managers, because once again I'm a young man myself, so the whole managerial change throughout the league will be interesting to see. Like once again, like Will Still, Frank Lampard. I'm not comparing the two, obviously. Frank Lampard's got a hell of a job to do at the moment, but I do believe that the managerial scene will change. People like Moyes will retire, and new faces will come in. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting seeing previous players, in the hot seat and the driving seat. But if he can keep Bournemouth up, then that's definitely like a good start to his to his time, definitely.
and to be honest, he's been getting so much praise from Sam Matterface, Jamie Carragher,
Yeah.
all the press up and down the country as well. So I think I'm a big supporter of his.
Yeah.
Not every Bournemouth fan is, but I'm a great believer that he'll go from strength to strength. And do you feel that, considering how early it is on in his managerial career, if West Ham did come in for Gary O'Neill, do you think that firstly he would jump ship to West Ham, considering his history there? But secondly, do you think that the West Ham fans would think that that would be a good decision, considering again how early it is on in his managerial career?
I would say it definitely depends on where West Ham finish, because once again we're both sort of assuming that we stay up. The other side of the coin, if we do go down, and I'm not sure if it's ever happened before, where a team is in Europe and they play against Rotherham or whatever next season, which would be really, really interesting to see. And there might be some obviously like financial implications. I will admit, like that season or those couple of seasons where West Ham were in the Championship were quite I would say enjoyable, because obviously we knew what the big prize was, obviously to get promoted, and I didn't ever believe that the West Ham would get relegated. I think that if West Ham were to get relegated, I'm not saying that Gary O'Neill is necessarily suited to a team that are a Championship level, but at least that would be a real test, because there's more teams, a lot more competitive as well, dare I say. Because there's more teams, there's more games, and once again, all the competition as well, and potentially Europe still. I'm not sure who the next manager of West Ham will be. I mean, it could be Moyes still. Moyes could just carry on. I don't think he will, given the amount of pressure he's under. And I would like him to carry on with with Bournemouth. Is he a caretaker manager, or is he the actual like head coach?
He's
Like
he's
he's
permanent now. Yeah, he
he's
was
permanent.
interim for a while. So yeah, he
Okay.
was interim,
Yeah.
but he is permanent now.
Yeah, yeah. 'Cause I do believe that there'll be like pre-season a lot of managerial changes. I mean, once again, like Chelsea as well will have one because I don't think that Lampard's had a very very bad start so far.
Yes.
And it's incredible seeing the situation that Liverpool and Chelsea are both in. Being essentially like sort of for a while like chasing around like mid-table, and those two teams definitely aren't mid-table teams. I'm really looking forward to like the climax of the season on both ends and the middle as well. I suppose. I mean, like the race for Europe is incredible.
Yeah,
Brighton are doing some crazy things right now. Obviously, I
they
know that.
are.
Yeah. But yeah, it's gonna be a hell of a. It already has been a hell of a season, a crazy season. But yeah, I'm pleased. I'm a football fan in general. It's good to be interested in this sort of thing. So definitely, yeah.
Believe it or not, and here's a little fact as well for you.
Okay.
Your first season back in the Premier League, of course, you was promoted alongside Southampton as well.
Yeah.
Um, was the season that we won League One.
League One.
Well, second in League
Yeah, oh
One.
yeah,
Yes, we
yeah, yeah.
finished
But
second in
still,
League One. To be honest,
yeah,
I keep thinking that we won it because it was so close. But
yeah.
um,
Wow.
no, of course, we was pipped right at the post there. But
Yeah, yeah,
it's crazy when you think how things have changed so much.
yeah. Definitely. I mean, once again, I mean, um, there's teams. If you look at like the current like list of teams that are in the Premier League, you've
Yeah.
got teams like Nottingham Forest, Brentford, like even Leeds. I know that Leeds.
Yes.
When I was a young boy, even before I was born, much like Nottingham Forest, were up there. But it's just, things change a lot. And like, once again, look at Leicester as well, their climb. But I've got a lot of praise for Bournemouth. I really like their kit as well. For some
Yep.
reason, red and black has always been one of my things. But yeah, I'm pleased that. Well, first of all, I know it's a bit not relate, but I'm pleased that things like the European Super League didn't happen and that sort of stuff. I do
Of
believe that
course.
there may be more talk of that, but the way things are right now, is definitely like positive. I mean, like the whole change to like gambling things as well, is definitely a step in the right direction. I think the Premier League are doing good things. There's still a long way to go to make it perfect, but then
Yeah.
perfection, can be quite hard to find. Definitely.
It would mean though the abolishment of the Betway Cup though.
Well, there'll be another cup though. There'll be
Yeah,
another
well, they'll
cup.
have
They'll
to
be
make
like,
something else, won't
yeah,
they?
definitely. Yeah.
What we'll do is we will do some predictions in a moment, but by all means, do tell us because, of course, you've got your own YouTube channel
Yes, I
that's done
do.
really, really well.
Yeah.
You've got quite a historical YouTube channel as well,
Yeah. Oh, thank
and
you. Thank you.
do tell us what does Beneath the Headphones mean?
So, I mean, a brief history of like my channel. Like, so beneath the headphones, basically, the name comes. So, wearing headphones, I
Yeah,
stutter a lot less. I stutter a lot when I'm like, well, I know it's a common thing, like when I'm nervous and that sort of thing. But it's definitely like an anxiety kind of cleanser, much like walking and litter picking is a thing I do in my spare time as well. I mean, Beneath the Headphones has been on the back burner for a little while. Ever since COVID, my sort of confidence, my motivation has really taken a hit. I've got the time to make videos and I want to. I want to spread like the good word about mental health and,
yeah,
like positive changes in myself that I want to talk about. Like, in the past year I've quit things like smoking and gambling. We talked about that earlier on,
yeah,
gambling things. And I think that, like, I want to get back into it because it's a wonderful like thing to be part of because YouTube has definitely changed a lot. Like my channel beforehand, Sam Chaplinify, that hit 11,000 subscribers at its peak, and
yeah,
then due to the algorithm, like when you upload videos or you don't upload videos, you lose subscribers.
yeah,
And over the months and well years, I suppose, it's fallen down to 9,000. Still a lot of people there. And part of me is thinking,
yeah,
well, I could just go back to it, because there's no rules to say that it has to be dead forever. But yeah, I'm pleased that I picked up a camera in like media class in year 11. It without sounding like violin-y, like it kind of
Yeah.
changed my life, and I met people and I experienced things,
Yeah.
um, and obviously I know that like since then things like Vine have come and gone and TikTok now is massive, but I think
Cool.
YouTube is such a fantastic platform to be on,
Yes.
and it isn't sus. There's no dodgy things about it. I would say, well, that I know of, obviously,
Yeah.
but but it's I recommend like YouTubing to anyone, and I say that as someone who hasn't uploaded in Christ, quite a while now. But as I said to you yesterday on Twitter, I would like to. I think that maybe this might have helped a little bit. And I'm just talking to essentially a computer, but I'm also talking to the
Yes.
person behind the computer as well. And it feels good to do it. And I think with Beneath the Headphones, I want to carry on doing it.
Yeah.
Another Beneath the Headphones thing is I like the idea of putting a GoPro on my headphones here.
Yeah.
So essentially, like I myself become beneath the headphones. But
Yeah.
that's just a little thing that I like, a little sort of tidbit, if you will. But no, I definitely enjoy YouTube, and it's brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. And you're always welcome back on this show, Sam.
Oh,
It's
thank
been
you
a
very
real,
much.
real pleasure to
Yeah, it's
talk
been
to
good.
you. And, hopefully I can come on beneath the headphones. And please, everyone, subscribe to Sam's channels. They
Thank you.
are in the description there as well. Well, I guess I have to do this with all my guests.
Okay,
It is prediction time.
right.
How do we reckon this is going to go, Sam?
The optimist in me is saying 2-1 to West Ham.
Hmm.
Ings and Bowen to score. And I think I've got a feeling that there'll be a penalty. I think as I said, I think Billing will score for Bournemouth.
Yeah.
But as I say, I'm a positive West Ham fan, so I feel bad coming onto your channel and saying that we're. But I say like, yeah, I didn't say we're going to thrash you. Like I said, oh yeah, we'll win this 6-0, no problem, and just dust our hands off. Realistically, we've got Ghent tonight. No idea what team Moyes is going to play. Because he could play youngsters, but if we want to win, I'm not saying youngsters can't perform well,
Yeah.
obviously, but you need to have a team that plays together. And we
Yes.
don't know what happens in the training situations, but I think that we'll put a strong team out, and we have to perform well against Bournemouth because we're at home. But wait, are we at home? No, we're away.
No, you're away. Yes. Yeah.
Oh God, that's even worse. Oh God, yeah. Maybe it should be 2-1 to you guys then. No, I'll stick to what I said. 2-1 to West Ham.
Yeah, no, fair enough, mate.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a 2-1 win because I do think we've got a little bit of momentum behind us. To be honest, Sam, most people go for their side to win, so you're not
Okay.
alone.
Right. Good.
I
Good.
think the only ones that said that they weren't going to win were Southampton and Everton as well. They just
Yeah.
Everton just don't have any faith in their football team, I don't think.
No, they've definitely been through quite a situation. Like managers
Hmm.
coming and going, and I think the only saving grace I would say for Everton is like they're not Chelsea. Because that would
Yeah.
be horrible. Because they've got so much history, and they're meant to do well because they're one of the big four,
Yes.
or big six, whatever that means these days. But they're just slipping. And I
Yeah.
really, as I said before, I know I put Everton, to go down. I would, I think definitely Forest, Southampton, as I said, Everton will be the ones that it will either be them or like Leicester or whoever else. I'm not sure, but I think we're like both of our teams are safe. Everton fans, yeah, sorry.
No, that's fair
Yeah,
enough.
yeah,
To be honest, they're even saying it themselves. So, yeah,
yeah.
they haven't got much faith in their side. But, Sam,
No,
it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Like I say,
thank you very
you're
much.
always welcome on here.
Thank you.
Hopefully, we can do this next season as well
Yes,
because that
definitely,
will be
definitely,
great.
brilliant.
And it'll mean that we're both safe.
Yep,
But,
yep.
yeah, Sam, it's been an absolute pleasure and thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much for having me on. Cheers.
Thank
Take
you.
care. See ya.
And thank you everybody for joining us on this show. Please remember to hit the like, the subscribe and the bell button below to be alerted to any new videos we do here on Up the Cherries in all departments. Please do check out our shows. Like I say, with Harry Redknapp, we had 3 parts. The first part was explaining Harry's thoughts on the Tottenham Hotspur game, that fantastic result. The second part is our relegation show, which is fantastic. It's had a lot of traction. A lot of people have commented. Do tell us the 3 that you think will go down. And the third part is actually something completely different, talking about some of the top talent that Harry has managed throughout the years. So the likes of Gareth Bale, Michael Carrick, Joe Cole, Frank Lampard, Jermaine Defoe, Glenn Johnson, and also the ones that got away, such as Ian Wone, and could Ian Wright have played for AFC Bournemouth? You'll have to find out. Go watch that video now and do let us know what you think. But until the next show, up the cherries, and we'll see you in the next one.